Good morning, good morning. It is a brand new week, it's a brand new day. Today is Bank Holiday Monday and the sun is definitely shining outside. Can't wait. I can't wait because today is barbecue day. Yeah, of course, it's good. We were gonna do yesterday, but then yeah, the weather wasn't as nice as today. Looks like it's going to be a wonderful shiny day. Excellent stuff. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Brad. Yes. Excellent stuff. Yeah, you guys are here already. I saw some comments that that you guys left regarding the topic of the day. Yeah, isn't it interesting, right? Well, everybody's got different views, so we're gonna have just a little chat about it. So I'm trying to keep today's session relatively short. I'm trying to end it bang on in 30 minutes so I could get on with my barbecue later. So that's cool. So welcome back to my Facebook live stream, and my name is Jimmy Cheng. I'm a professional photographer, filmmaker, and an Olympus ambassador. And yes, if you are new to here, this channel, or not this channel, this stream is all about photography, filmmaking, and of course Michael Four Third gears, and yes, especially Olympus. Well, but anything photography making is fine. Don't worry. Just ask me any question if you have any. I'll be here for you. Okay, so today we are going to talk about something rather interesting, right? So, privacy and photography is going to be something that up for discussion because I'm very certain many of you have different views about everything, and I've seen many people have different practices about how they approach, let's say, people. I mean, like actual foreign people or strangers on the streets or at locations when he or she is trying to, take a photograph of them. Yeah, in my case, I can share my experience, but I've already seen some of you guys already left some comments here. Let's start with you guys and see, and then I can come back to you with my own experience. So, Brad, I think you actually. And oops, oh, hang on a second. My comments section is kind of bumped up to the other side. Oh, hang on a second. You rarely photograph people, Brad. Well, I'm pretty sure every now and then you will. Even when you go and travel, for instance, and you just snap some shots, but people in the shot. It's something that in many people's view, you are kind of invading their privacy, and especially these days when I'm in the UK, especially even when I'm just going out to photograph or film something, when this is not really true, yeah, when there is kids involved in the area, I will be given a weird look. And every single time I'm trying to photograph something, and or film something, even though that I wasn't aiming at the kids, I wasn't doing anything, my camera wasn't even pointing to the kids, yeah, they will still think that I'm doing something weird. So this is, to them, is a privacy issue, and I totally appreciate and completely understand it. However, what I think is the problem is that they go a little bit overboard. These days, especially the people, at least the people that I encountered anyway, that they totally would not want to discuss or trying to understand what you're trying to do, and they would just becoming overprotective about everything. So as long as you've got a camera within the area, within the proximity of the family or any young children, they would just like have this red alert thing coming on, like this alarm would just buzzing in the ceiling and things like beep, beep, beep. God, this guy got camera. No camera, nothing. And I mean, I'm a parent myself, I can understand it. But if I do see things like that, I will question the photographer, what he's doing, who he or she is doing. And then maybe because I'm a photographer, I can kind of understand, I can see the equipment where they're actually pointing at something or doing something different. But to a lot of people, they just simply don't have that knowledge. And how would you deal with that sort of situation? Would you respect it, or are you just going to, okay, sod it, I'm going to go away, keep going what I'm going to do, and with my photography, you cannot control me. You can call police because fine, I'm not doing anything illegal here. I'm filming, doing something completely irrelevant to your family, and I can even show things that on my camera on the back of the screen, so you can't even see anything relating to your family, your kids. So at the end of the day, I didn't break the rule. But would you respect that by saying, okay, fine, I'm going to move away, or just keep going? That's the question. So I can see that this happening a lot more, especially in the developed world. And in developed country is totally different. In fact, kids are so happy for you to photograph them. And even when I was in China, for instance, and that's a good example, I was photographing and documenting a lot of the villages and things like that, and kids would just jump up to you, you know, when they see the camera, and even the parents came up and say hi and just actually pose in front of the camera, let me photograph them. And it really, really is a different culture, different understanding. You know, to be quite honest, I think we used to be like that too. You know, we had no problem being photographed on the street. We never really had any problems. People may get shy and things like that, but when it comes to, you know, being approached by a stranger and starting to take photograph, they get, you know, they get a bit scared these days. And I mean, it's really weird. But what about you? If you are the stranger, let's say on the street, and there's a photographer come up and actually starting to photograph your face, what would you think? What is your reaction? You know, and then I would like to see that. Let's see some other comments here. And Roman actually written something quite long here. Oopsie. Let me just extend it a little bit. If I can just drag it low. There you go. Okay. It's a quote from the Al Pacino movie. Yeah, privacy is getting more and more important. I mean, this is the thing, though, isn't it? And about human rights, about freedoms and privacy. Of course, everyone's free to do certain things, but then privacy at the same time is going to draw in that fine line there, whether you can get into the space. But who is defining the proximity? Who's defining the boundary? When you are in a public space, it is a public space, regardless whether your kids are there or not, you know, and that is totally different. And of course, you know, if you believe that a photographer is doing something dodgy, I mean, you are very welcome to alert the local security or policeman, but they cannot scream at that person taking the photograph. I mean, that from a legal perspective, I believe, you know, because you're in the public area, you know, it's not private property. I mean, if it's private property, you can alert the security guards if you want to, but ultimately, they really cannot stop anybody. You know, you are out on the street, and you have the same equal right of anybody else in the same place. I mean, I can photograph anybody, like someone else who are just a normal senior guy, and he or she might be very happy to let me photograph them. But as you know, then some parents are really getting paranoid about the whole thing being photographed things, and without having the questions, the motive, or even trying to ask, what are you doing? You know, it's a very nice, simple question. In a lot of cases, I actually would appreciate if someone actually come up to me and speak to me and just give me a little nice smile and just say, oh, you know, sorry, I got kids here. Would you mind not doing this and that? You know, and I will respect that. But what I don't like is when parents just jumped on me and started screaming. And it was literally like, oh, hang on a second, mate, I haven't done anything, mate. And, but I have encountered that like many times. And even though I wasn't even photographing them at all, just because they so happen in the area, and I'm having a longer lens, and that was it. And they thought that I was someone doing something really dodgy. And that gets a little bit annoying these days. Let's see what else is doing. Mark. You talked about HCB, my hero. Yes. Yeah, you know, to be honest, I do the same thing. I walk up to people and I'm just photographing them, and with or without them notice. Sometimes, depending on what sort of situation it is. For instance, I'll just show you one quick picture here, Mark. And oh, by the way, thank you for adding me as a friend. I'm meeting so many friends, and so many of you are just becoming my friends now, which is actually great. So like these stuff, you know, I use a very wide lens, so I'm actually literally about 2 to 3 feet away from these ladies here, and is very close proximity, and they know that I was photographing only after I clicked the shot. So is this. I'm just trying to get rid of this, and the next shot here, and yeah, she's definitely aware of me when she's coming up from the corner. So these are things that am I crossing the line? And that's the question about privacy here, or they simply because it's a public space and I can do whatever I want. And look at that. Good morning, Trevor. Good morning, Burana. And I'm just trying to read some of your comments to see how you guys are doing. Yeah, and let's see what Burana said. Just photo birds, flower, cloud, any other than people, and I'm going to take people photo. I would ask. Okay, fair. That's a fair thing to do. You know, you can ask, but there are other cases if you're doing street photography, for instance, or travel documentary, or just simply travel photography. when you're in a very, like, say, popular landmark areas, there bound to be tons and tons of people around. You know, you're simply using a wide angle lens. That one shot can immediately capture probably about, I don't know, 300 people. You know, if you're using a really high resolution camera, yeah, I'm just for argument's sake, yeah. If you worry about people, like, you know, your face being recognized, these days, you know, there are cameras out there who are 40 megapixel, even 100 megapixel, you can get them. And then, and that means even if you have a wide scene, even these little people in the frame is so tiny, but because of the megapixels so high, you blow them up, you can actually recognize every single one of them. So you are infringing everybody's privacy. That's up to you to debate. You know, for me, I'm actually quite happy to people. Let's say, I know, I think one of you actually left a comment saying that oh, your HCB, yeah, that's right. Roman was saying he got photographed a lot, and I mean, I sometimes get photographed on the street when I was working, and so I have no problem with people photographing me, and I just do whatever I need to. It just happened, you know. You're in the public space, and I really don't want to ask too much, to be honest, you know, because if you only see and react to things that you can see, right? And then so there could be still paparazzi. There should be some, like, if you think about dodgy, there could be dodgy people really hiding in a corner, some dark places, using like massive telephoto lens and just trying to sneak up to people and take a photograph of them. That's dodgy. You know, like if you see a photographer blatantly standing on the street doing the work, you know, I think you know, I can't believe, you know, people would believe that, you know, these people who are so obvious in front of you are the dodgy one. And to be honest, I mean, if you kind of understand, you know, people's behavior, you would know that if people want to do something really, really like horrible or like bad, or, you know, and then they wouldn't be so obvious. They would be hiding somewhere. If, let's say, if people worry about their children, like they were some pedophiles are like taking photographs for their pleasure, that kind of thing, you know, and they wouldn't be doing so blatantly. They wouldn't be so obvious. They would be really hiding in a bush somewhere that they can't be seen, right? You know, like, so that is so like common sense to a lot of people that I don't know why they would get worried too much. And like I mentioned, and it would be so easy for them to just come up and speak nicely to people, instead of like really jumping on you and like really trying to use a hammer, if they have one, to just knock on your head. You know, like, this is completely unacceptable to me. I think as a photographer now, as a photographer who actually work on the street a lot, and I'm holding my camera constantly, and people just think that I'm a terrorist, you know, like most of the time. You know, why? You know, you're going to like, okay, let's get rid of this family and like young children on the street issue. Let's say you are in a landmark area these days. You will have police patrolling the area, you know, very, very constantly because of obviously security issues. But like, as soon as I have a camera on my hand, police will come up to me and ask me what I'm doing. It's so weird, you know, like what is going on with this world now, you know? And if it's the same argument, if I am doing something really bad or about to do something really bad, would I be so obvious, you know, doing it right in front of the police, the CCTV and everything else? Probably not. You know, we find some way to do kind of very unobvious, you know. So that is, I would guess, many of you may have experienced it, and especially if you're walking around London and things like that, you know, you probably experienced something similar to what I experienced. I mean, whenever I go out to shoot, you know, not this year, of course, it's locked down, but last year and every year before that, every time I go out to landmark area like Tower Bridge and Big Ben, Trafalgar Square, and I'm not joking, yeah, I get approached by police constantly just because I have a camera, or slightly bigger camera. I mean, to be honest, I'm using a Micro Four, so how big can that be, right? But sometimes, occasion, I will use my 40 to 150 with the lens hood, so that may look a little bit bigger than usual. But still, if you compare to like Canon and Nikon, you know, they are even bigger, yeah? So like, this is so weird. As long as I've got a longer lens, just a slightly bigger looking camera, the police will think that I'm doing something wrong. And this is the prejudgment. You know, like I really completely don't understand it. And even though they're getting a little bit better now, because I remember 5-6 years ago, and when I organized a photo walk with my mates going into central London, do some night shots. So we all took tripods here because we wanted to do light trails and stuff like that, in all kinds of stuff, long exposure. We set up tripods. Seriously, we set to different places, about 4 or 5 of us, and we got 4 or 5 tripods lying around in Trafalgar Square. And each and every single one of us got stopped by police 3 times, yeah. And then at the end of the day, yeah, we kept explaining the same thing. But like one really nice policeman actually came up to me and then said, "Look, yeah, okay, yeah, sorry about all this trouble, but you know, it's our duty to kind of understand what you guys are trying to do and things like that. Well, look, I'm just a photographer. I'm just trying to take some photograph at night time. You know, I can't do it without my tripod. You know, and then he's kind enough to actually wrote me a note, actually wrote down his PC number, you know, the police reference number." And then he said, if there are any other policemen come up to you and ask you the same thing, saying that you hold up this sheet and talk to them, saying that you have been talked to this policeman, your colleagues, and then everything is fine. You just carry on. So like, at least, I mean, but seriously, you know, do you have to go that far? You know, you can approve to be standing at that spot to take some photograph? Unbelievable. And that's why, you know, there was a protest a few years back now, and I cannot remember exactly what year it was, and there were a lot of professional photographers did a petitions about photographing in public places, and I think that actually got in favor of us, and so the rule was overturned, so police can no longer enforce certain things when they see them using professional equipment. But having said that, that rule may have now been removed from the police, but in terms of local securities, they still doing something really, really dodgy and silly. And let's see what you guys are doing. Ralph, I don't do people so much. People, animals rarely care. I wish they're all animals. We are all animals at the end of the day. We are the animals on the earth, Ralph. And okay, let's see what Brad say. What's legal doesn't equal to what's socially acceptable. That is true. That is very true. Don't want conflict, and they just not me generally. However, sometimes in the distance, my frame set, and well, yeah, exactly. But there are times that you just can't avoid. For instance, if you are, let's say, you are in this place, you know, with this beautiful scene, and you can only capture that particular scene at that spot, and you have to use that focal length, and somehow, somewhere, this family just walked into the area and stayed there for a long time, and all you wanted to do just to snap one shot and go. Would you actually proactively go up to this family and say, "I'm trying to take a shot here, and would you mind me doing it?" Or you just simply snap away until they actually jump on you? You know, obviously there are certain different scenarios you can play with this, and but ultimately it's going to be becoming like really awkward when you're in a public place. You really shouldn't need to ask for permission to shoot. I mean, I'm talking about like actual public place, yeah. Private properties, obviously, that's arguable because they may have some rules about saying that no photography within its premises and things like that. So that's subject to whatever, you know, owns the property. But in a public place, and it is is definitely okay. You know, a lot of famous street photographers are very known for invading people's privacy, and one of the I would say the guilted one would be the Bruce Gilden. You know, if you all know about him, and his style of photography is totally different to many of the street photographers that you know before, because what he does is he will use a flash and a camera, will jump in front of you like this and then snap a shot. Is this something that is invading privacy? And in that case, I think it's very intrusive. It's a method of so intrusive that I think it can be a bit scary. In that particular case, I believe, you know, it's definitely invading of privacy, and then because I think space is an issue, and but it's only. Okay, legally, he hasn't done anything wrong because he can actually do anything on the street. But when you come up to that close, it's almost like inches in front of people's face, and that's a slightly different kind of feeling. And obviously, once again, it's subject to argument. And obviously, he has been arrested a few times, but never actually got charged for anything. And so I guess legally, is not a problem. But his method of conducting his photography can be questionable. Obviously, he's a famous guy now, and he's got several books published, and he's renowned for his style of photography. That's something that can be discussed, maybe later on about, what sort of style is good, what sort of style is bad. I don't think there is right or wrong. Like I said many times in photography, is whether you can accept that kind of thing. As a viewer, you may find those images relatively interesting because it's a very close-up shots and people's reactions, and it was frozen by the flash gun. And but in many cases, if you are on the other side of the camera, you might think totally differently. What the heck was going on? This guy just come up to me in a few inches in front of my face and snap my face, and that is so intrusive. And let's see what Trevor is saying now. People on CCTV all the time, they're just not always aware. Well, to be honest, if you're in the UK, I think I did post a photo, and I think if you go to Google and you can enable CCTV on the map, so like you can actually see how many CCTV listed in central London. Is literally amazing. Yeah, tens of thousands of CCTVs just in central London. Yeah, you are most likely being captured, as soon as you walk out the door. So it is. I think we are definitely the most has the most CCTVs on the planet. As a city, or in terms of population, against the number of CCTV. So in London, it's definitely really, really bad. And good morning, Mo. Good morning. It's Gary. Yes. And government surveillance. Oh well. There you go. You said it. And yeah, it's calling the Big Brother. He's calling the Big Brother thing here, and people can easily just watch you and. All the time have all sorts of reasons, yes, not excuse, but reasons to say anything, why they are tracking, why they are looking at you, why they can question you. I'm pretty sure that can only get worse, especially now we have this COVID-19 issue. Now they have this tracing. They are giving police the power to actually stop people in questioning them. Where you're breaking the law, social distancing, and all the other stuff now. So like you are actually being monitored even more than usual during this time. Yeah, so that would be really weird. And Mo, thank you for coming here and use a compact camera. I feel safer. And frankly, yeah, it doesn't really matter sometimes. Like I said, that depending what sort of situation it is, if you are so happen to have young family around you, yeah, even a compact camera, yeah, can create a debate. Sometimes I use my iPhone, simply just waving around, and unless you have kids on your own actually playing the same place, for some reason, they're okay, and that's what gets me sometimes, yeah. When I go to a playground, let's say, and then with the kids, so like I will video my kids, I will take photograph of them, do all sorts of things. All the kids around them, and the parents actually have no problem of me doing it. But if I'm alone, it's a totally different story. Even though that it may not be, like I said, aiming at the kids. Because I'll give you an example. Because I was actually taking some B-rolls for a review videos that I did for YouTube, and I had the product because it's kind of like a family-friendly thing. So I put it on the swing, and that section was empty. There was no people there, yeah, but there were a couple of families behind me. I said it again, yeah, behind me, yeah, with the kids and playing something else. So I put this little gadget thing on the swing. I did have a tripod because I need a still shot. I put a tripod down, facing the product on the swing, which is completely away from them. Yeah? It's the opposite direction. I put it down, set up my camera. Within 5 seconds, a dad shouted at me from the back, "What are you doing? Are you photographing my kids?" Look, I'm facing completely the opposite direction. There's absolutely no people in that section. Not even a single person, yeah, in that section. And this father got so angry with me, and of me using a camera. So that is so unbelievable. And this is what annoys me a lot, and really annoying. I even showed them, trying to show them the picture, and he didn't even care. He asked me to leave. And of course, I really didn't want to get into confrontation with him. Obviously he's already crossed for some reasons. His brain's definitely crossed, and then so it's so horrible. These days when you. But like I said, if I have kids on my own, just playing around there, he will be fine. He will have no problem of of me taking photograph, and this is. As a photographer, it can be really annoying and frustrating, and so you can kind of almost bring your kids with you if you really want to photograph in public, just because you can. Once you have kids, this is like a jail-free card. You can just do whatever you want because you have kids. Oh, that's fine now. You have kids, so you're not doing anything dodgy. Really? Can you even think like that? And it's so weird. Good morning, Jason. Good morning, Roman, and. So it's something is so annoying these days, and so let's give you another photograph, and this kind of another really close-up photograph. You probably might have seen this. I posted before, and did this in Brussels when the presidents actually arrived at the city hall. I was actually in the reporter stage for some reason. And in fact, I wasn't supposed to be there, just because I was holding a camera. I was walking around, and then they thought I was one of them. And they let me in, so I walked into it. But anyway, so this is a very close-up pictures of the whole thing. You can see how close I was with actually to the policewoman. It's literally inches away, and I was using a very wide angle lens, and just trying to get some street or moment shots that I was doing. So in terms of privacy, depends. It really depends. And obviously, you can see the reporter putting two fingers there. He wasn't actually aiming at me. He was aiming his colleagues behind me. And but he actually smiled at me afterward. But the thing is, if you're a photographer like he was, he's totally aware of this sort of thing. And even he joked about the whole thing. We had a little chat afterward, and he's a nice guy. But it was something that I think only people who used to having a camera photographing on the street or during travel would appreciate everything that I'm saying today. Because a lot of people, if you are not really being out on the street to photograph people, even people walking past, you may not kind of understand the frustration sometimes that people like myself have experienced. It can be annoying, it can be frustrating, especially in the developed cities. London is really getting really bad. I went to New York, is also getting really bad, and some of the cities like Paris is okay in a way, and Brussels still okay. Brussels still fine, and there are other places in Europe, I think generally are not too bad, but London, and New York are really the two worst cities in the world for photograph on the street, and also Hong Kong is okay on the street, but not okay in shopping centers, because they're private properties, but not actually the people, not the security will stop you, but the people actually, I don't know why, they seem to be okay that you photograph it on the street, but not okay when they're in a shopping center. I don't know. I have no reason, to believe why there's any difference, but they seem to get a little bit annoyed when I photograph them in the shopping mall. But anyway, so that's really weird. But anyway, so there are cities like that in China. And generally they're okay, and especially if you go to villages, like I mentioned, they're absolutely fine. There's no problem when you photographing them like that. So sometimes I do get close to people. You've seen this double shot, I do get really close to people. And in this case, in this particular case, I did ask the woman that I want to photograph the dogs. I did, and then she actually saw me kneeling down, getting really close to the dog, and shooting from a very low angle. And so she's totally aware of it. So I guess in this particular instance, there's no privacy issues there, because I did ask for permission to do it, and she was happy for me to do that. And trying to get you another shot here. Was this different one? Oh, sorry, I gave you the wrong one again. Right, this one here. Well, this is another candid shot actually on the train, and I showed you that last week. And in this particular shot, you know what? Yeah, she actually knew I was photographing it because I was at that angle for a long time, and she did see my camera. She occasionally looked to my camera a few times, and she saw me, and she ignored me, and so she knew that I was photographing her, and but she's totally fine with that. So in this particular case, and I didn't ask for anything, and I didn't ask for permissions, but she seemed to be happy and comfortable of me photographing. And she even left, and he gave me a little grin at the end, and so that was all good. So I guess, like I mentioned, because this is part of my what I call it the commuter series. There was a time I was doing a lot of photograph of a lot of commuters, whether they're on the train, on the bus, and in the underground. I do a lot of photographs of them, just in the train, in this sort of environment. So this is why they call it commuter series. And so most cases I don't ask for permission, because I want to capture the natural state of mind of them doing things in these public transport areas. So so I never really asked for any permissions, and because this is part of the documentaries I was doing, and I felt like this it would be more appropriate to actually capture when they are not aware. In this particular instance, she did kind of know, but when I first pointed camera to her, she didn't know that I was taking a photograph. But over time, because I actually waiting for the right moment, so I was waiting there for a long time. So you eventually acknowledge and notice the camera, but at least she was fine with that. But like I said, if I do respect people, I really do respect people. In this sort of instance, if they don't want me to take a photograph and they question me, and I would delete the photo and I would show them to them, sorry, I didn't want, but I would actually explain the reasons if I'm doing it. So after taking a photo, if they do come up to me saying this and that, if they're happy, I'll keep the photo. If they're not happy, and that's it, I will delete it. I'll respect them for that, so that will be all good. And let's see what you guys continue saying. And oh, I have the wrong date, sorry. Trevor, I am changing it right now. And you know what, yeah, I haven't changed anything since last week. That's why. Okay, there you go. We changed now. 25th is the today. Okay, let's see. I don't want to be mean, but people think everybody else is also right, Romans here, and like themselves. This is why they are scared, and what would happen to the photo? Maybe they would do something crazy. Yeah, I mean, like I say, and it's really hard to justify to people sometimes. And then, to be quite honest, if you are a genuine photographer, you're not doing something creepy, you don't really have to justify to anybody else. You are a photographer, you're an artist. You just photograph on the street. You want to have that moment there. You are part of that moment. You're part of that scene in the street. So it's nothing to justify in that case. And to be honest, if people are worried about people using their photos to do something like dodgy and other things, and frankly, there are so many other ways to do that these days. And you don't really need a camera to do it. And your smartphone, CCTV footage, your online profile, people can steal your identity if they really want to. So it's not. I think it's more scary that way than actually blatantly pointing a camera at your face. And like I mentioned, is if people are doing things this obvious, it's actually it's not likely they're going to do something bad to you. And in fact, they probably do just having interest in your appearance, perhaps. And so apart from that, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong at all. Brad, photography said relaxation, avoid any potential conflict. That is true, but I've been on the street for. Good morning, Mark. I've been on the street for long enough, and also like in different events and travels for many years now, and I've seen a lot of people. I've been questioned a lot. I've been approached a lot. I also approached other people a lot. So I've seen a lot of these things. This is kind of part of my photography. So and I totally appreciate that, Brad. Like if you really don't do that sort of thing, it's totally different story. But I'm really kind of sharing my experience because I know a lot of street photographers, a lot of people who do a lot of street portraits, a lot of travel photography. To a certain extent, they will experience something that I just said, because these days you have a lot of different rules, you have a lot of different restrictions in place for photographers. They cannot do this, they cannot do that, and you see so many things now. But I guess over time things are getting slightly better now, and so it's the government, it's the law enforcement have to understand photography, because they never really do understand what it is about. You go to places now, you see places that used to be say no photography, now they will say they allow photography, just no flash. For instance, this is one good example of many of these tourist areas are doing these days. Because to be honest, in the old days we were allowed to do it. Everything, you can take your film camera, go in and snap things, right? There's no such a thing saying no photography, apart from a very high security place. But usually you're allowed to take photograph anywhere, and it's so, people get so paranoid as soon as they move from analog to digital, because they all think digital is a scary thing. They can manipulate things, they can do all sorts of stuff to it. But now you see, it's actually not that bad at all. And because genuine people, genuine photographers who actually use the camera to do something is for good reasons. For people who are dodgy, they don't need to show in front of you and do it. They would do it somewhere else. Just definitely sneaky. And and let's see what Brad just said there. Your arguments are all true, logical, but yeah, I know. It's like I mentioned so many times now, how annoyed I get with fathers and mothers in the park, and that is totally my horror story. I could tell you that. It's so many times I actually they got me so angry just because I didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't even aiming at them, and they just came up very aggressively and just shouted at me and things, and I just hated it. I just hated it so much. And let's see what Rao said. Good morning. And yeah, public place should be no expectation of privacy. Exactly. You walk out to the public place, yeah, you expect it to be photographed. Let's put it that way, yeah. It can be paparazzi, it could be another tourist photographer, it can be a stranger, it could be a pedophile. It could be anybody. You're in a public place, there is no hiding there. Like legally, no one is breaking any rules because you're in a public place. And you can question, you can have a conversation with them. You can question the motive. If they believe that they're doing something dodgy, you can report to the police and let them deal with it. But it's not something that you have the power to stop them doing whatever they do. It's a public place. So like if you're out there, you really have no privacy whatsoever. And I don't know why people get so cross these days when they're outside getting, being photographed by some strangers. And like I said, I do respect people. This is what today's conversation is about. Photography equal respect. And I do respect people. If they notice me doing something and they don't like it, they come up to me and say something, fine. I would erase the picture. I'll say sorry, I apologize. But I'll explain. I always explain to them what I'm doing. I'm a professional photographer. I'm doing some street photography here. I'm documenting this and that. I'm doing things. If they're happy, I'll give them my card. I will give them the copy of the photo, and that will be the end of the story. If they don't, fine, fair enough. I'll erase my photo and that's it. But what I don't like is when people come up to me and start arguing with me, for absolutely no reasons. So that's what I don't like. And yeah, well, street photography is very, very fun, Brad, and is definitely for me, that is actually my relaxation. Funny enough, even though that I may get a bit annoying and angry sometimes, but in most cases, I like to just stand in the place and observe people and observe their behavior and activities, and I just document that moments there and then if the light is there. So I do like that. But yeah, so I do like it. Anyway, so I did say that I'm going to end my talk today bang on time because I've got my barbecue set up. So I'm going to start cooking some barbecue. I know, Ralph, you said that in your city, Kansas, it's got the greatest barbecue on earth. I am definitely want to come over and try those barbecue. And one day when this is all over, and for sure I'll come over and try those lovely BBQ. Let me know what's the most famous stuff in the weather. Burger, ribs. I love ribs. I love ribs. And steaks. Oh gosh, you're now making me hungry. I gotta go cook something now. And so I'm very thankful for you guys joining me. Today's actually bank holiday in the UK, so it's our day off. And I'm doing this just because I want to chat to you guys and continue my live stream between Monday to Friday. And don't forget, I have my live stream this Wednesday on my YouTube between 3 to 4:30, something like that. And there's no limit on my Wednesday live stream, so it can be very long depending on how active you guys are. But sometimes it can get really long, but it's fun. I love it. I love the interactions there, and it's all good. So let's see, Roman, you got one last comment here, and I got only one person told me to delete a photo during a Christopher Street Day, and oh wow, okay. yeah, I'm telling you, I bet loads of people experience something that I said earlier. Is also a common thing to have these days. Is you do have a camera on with you on the street and starting to take some photograph, there will be cases you'll be questioned. And Trevor, I'll be firing a barbecue today as well. Oh wow! So all of you guys having barbecue. I hope you guys had a great weekend as well. For those in the UK, this is our day now. It's our barbecue day. The sun is definitely shining, and I'm definitely heading out and cook something in a short moment. So thank you guys for joining me once again, and so I'll see you guys tomorrow. And also remember, on Wednesday I have a special photography 101 live on my Red 35 photography YouTube channel. It's gonna be fun because we're gonna talk about your most memorable camera. Right, listen to it. It's not the best, but the most memorable cameras. Yeah, it can be anything, things that change your life or something that you remember most because something happened. So like it could be a camera that you just bought yesterday, something really happened dramatically, or something that in your childhood, whatever, something, you know, like let me know. We have a great discussion this Wednesday, and then because I want to hear about the story, what got you into photography, why the camera is so important to you. You know, it doesn't have to be the latest and the greatest, it can be anything. So that will be it. Cool. So I will speak to you guys tomorrow again, and I'm going to end my stream right here now. And you guys take care and have a great day wherever you are. And Ralph, thank you for tuning in. I know it's very early in your area, and thanks a lot for joining me every single day. Your support is greatly appreciated. Then so is all of you. You know, you guys became my good friends here. We have daily conversation. It's just a fun thing to do. So thank you again. I will see you guys later tomorrow.